End of another week in the UK, and I am despondent. See, what you should do at the beginning of a YouTube video, you should go out with something. You should start with something really kind of engaging, like, you never guess what happened next, all that kind of rubbish. And I can hear the despondency in my voice, because this week kind of, to me, has cemented the UK's future as a country that is just going downhill and is never going to stop. I'm an optimistic dude, you know me, guys. I just wanted to have a bit of a rant for 10 minutes. I'll tell you what keeps me sane. It's the wind, it's the rain, it's the storms at the moment. It's I don't know, it's like tactile. It reminds me that there's still something out there that the government can't control, or can they? Sadiq Khan, I mean, crikey, getting a knighthood. What is that about? I remember guys in the military getting OBEs and MBEs, and all the rest of us are looking at them going, mate, you haven't done anything. And I realised then, I think early on, if I'm honest, that it was all a game. It was all a system to keep people compliant. That's what medals are for. That's why my brother and I, you never used to wear our medals in the military. Because we just knew we got medals. And people have a go at me all the time. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I understand that. Yeah, we should wear the medals. I get it. I did wear the medals because people died for those medals. I understand it. But it was a way to kind of keep you compliant, to keep you coming back, to keep you in the military. I'm just going to talk about a few things. There's quite a few things that have happened this week, isn't it? Sadiq Khan getting a knighthood when knife crime in London is through the roof. They've got this app now, I've heard, where women can put on this app when they're going home and where they're going from too, and other women can sort of check that they got there. Never had that before. Amazing. In the UK, we've got that now. So women are having to look after each other on the way home. So what's changed, guys? Is it because white men in the UK have got more violent, or, you know what I mean? I don't think that's the case. And when I say white men, the reason I say that is because prior to 1950, there were no other nationalities, no other people in the UK apart from white British, obviously. And now there are. After that, of course, people came in, and now, interestingly enough, I think the Muslim population is around about 5 to 6% that we know of in the UK. And yet, funnily enough, they make up 18% of the prison population. So 1 in 5 of the prison population is Muslim, whereas in 1 in 20 of our own population is Muslim. But we're not being taken over, of course. You've got to be careful what you say. Be careful what you say. So Sadiq Khan getting his knighthood is an absolute mockery, isn't it? It is an absolute injustice of what he's done to London. I know he's doing it, he's getting it for his green initiatives, but the red initiatives, the bleeding kids, the young men and women never going back to see their families again because they got stabbed up, because he's created an absolute lawless city. Trump was right when he said that Paris and London have fallen. You're talking to an Englishman right now. I think there's 35%, what we would say 35% ethnic British in London now. You know, I kind of think, what do you do? People always go, well, move abroad, Tim, because my brother's overseas, in tax-free and everything else. He goes, come over here, it's amazing. I'm not like that, though, you know what I mean? And it's really difficult for me. It's difficult for other people, not just men. I've got a lot of women following this channel right now. A lot of proper, solid, British women, like my mum. You know, she don't follow my channel. I'm saying my mum's like that. She really is. And they just want the old England back, the old Great Britain back, shall I say, however you want to define it. It doesn't matter whether I call it England, Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, or whether I call it Great Britain, or someone's going to complain about the way I use my terminology, so I don't care. I'm an Englishman, I'm half Welsh. But I want Great Britain back. Have you seen recently at MI5, they're not allowing internships for white British, they want everyone else. MI5, MI6, GCHQ. Saw that this week as well. I know why it is though, guys, I'll be honest with you. The reason that I've got to do some stuff on this. The reason GCHQ doesn't want white British is because white British aren't doing the crimes. They've got as many white British as they want in there. The people that they want to keep eyes on, the people on the terror list, are Muslims. That's the truth. They've got, I think it's like 3/4 of the terrorists are Muslims. That brings me on to Christmas fairs. Christmas fairs, you know, Christmas markets. I had police officers. Is this gaslighting? I'm a man. I don't understand what gaslighting is. I think when people try and tell you something's true and it's not, is that what it is? Hit the comments, let me know. I had police officers on Twitter telling me that armed patrols have always been around Christmas markets. It's nothing new, Tim. I said, well, my father was an armed response police officer for 37 years. He died back in 2011. 37 years. So my father was armed response, or my father was a police officer, shall we say. He was armed response in his later years, during the 70s, 80s, 90s and zeros. And you're telling me it didn't happen before, because you're telling me that you're saying they always used to patrol these markets. It's not true. They never did. They never patrolled them. We never used to have these diversity barriers. These barriers now that have miraculously just sprung up amongst our tarmacadden, concreted high streets now. What, is that to stop the ethnic white British from driving into people? No, it's not, is it? We know what it's for. It's because we've got this, you've imported, our government has imported terrorism. It's imported dangerous people into our country. I've got to be careful what I say on here. You've got to be careful what you say now in general. You end up in prison. My wife hates the fact I talk on YouTube like this, because if I went to prison, I'd lose a lot of money. Well, I wouldn't lose a lot of money because I haven't got a lot of money to lose, but she'd lose money. We're paying a mortgage. That's the next tactic of the government, isn't it? To restrict your speech, to stop your YouTube channel or whatever it might be, you know what I mean? To silence you. I've already been, banned, I think, twice on Twitter or something. I'm not saying anything. I'm not the guy I'm just trying to tell you, I'm just trying to see the facts as I see them. This is what I don't understand as well. People like Peter Lynch go to prison, things like that, for speaking what he sees as the truth. I hate that his truth thing. I hate all that stuff, but it's what he sees as the truth. They see that as the truth. Lucy Connolly, people like that, because that's what they see, but they can't say it, because if they say it, they get locked up. Katie Hopkins made some interesting points about Greg Wallace the other day and how people are coming for him. And the people that are coming for him, the type of person, the middle-aged woman that's coming for him and why she's coming for him. And it's an interesting one as well, because I ran into one of these middle-aged women last weekend, in fact. A friend of the family, a friend of my wife's family, in fact. And she was hosting, she wasn't hosting, of course she wasn't having immigrants in her own house, God forbid she would, but she was helping Afghan immigrants come into the UK. And she said, in my will, Ahmed is going to get my leather jacket, and in my will, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you helping these people come in? Well, I mean, they're coming in anyway, but she was one of these very liberal women that couldn't see the damage that she was doing. But the acceptance, the question time audience, she's the person that says everyone should be allowed to claim asylum in the UK. That we should have no borders, she was saying. Excuse me. I remember someone in my family said that about no borders, and I said to them, do you lock your house at night? And she went, yeah. Of course she went, because it tends to be women. She went, yes. And I said, why do you lock your house? She goes, because I don't want people stealing my stuff. I was like, that's what we have borders for. The military have asked me to join again, asked me to go back in. Did 20 years in the Air Force and the Navy. I'm about out for 6 now. Initially, it was horrendous coming out. And now I really like it. I love the chaos. I love the people. I just love the different people you meet all the time. I love that. But the military, we need to be back in again because it doesn't have the experience in there anymore. And the qualifications I have, people don't seem to have, apparently. They can't get them qualified because people like me used to help qualify guys up. And it doesn't have them. I mean, it put a lot of women into the job, of course, and the women, obviously, they have children. A lot of women don't want to climb back into an aircraft once they've had a kid because it's painful anyway. And especially when you're having, period issues or whatever it might be, and you're having a child and you're repairing, the last thing you want to do is get in a fast jet cockpit. So all those girls that we recruited, some of them aren't there anymore. Smaller now, fewer pilots coming through. So they want guys like me to go back in. They're offering good money. For me, it's good money. The pension's amazing because the public sector's money's being thrown at them, of course, isn't it? A massive black hole in the economy. So we're throwing money at the public sector, increasing spending with no ways. That's why we're going to put taxes up again, isn't it? That's why they're going to put taxes up again. It's incredible. There's so much I want to talk about, guys. It's mad, really. I don't know what the answer is. Because politics isn't the answer, is it? I mean, look at Ben Habib having to leave Reform. I know people love Farage, but I think he's a bit of a showman. He owns the company. He's a one-man point of failure. We all know that. Whereas Ben seemed to be a statesman. Ben Habib seemed to be a real statesman, Seemed to have the right idea. I'm just saying, he seemed to have the right idea. I don't know. I like Farage, I like Ben, but I'm just saying, why do we divide ourselves like this? It's almost like it's planned. When something good happens, Farage goes and messes it up. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel. Rupert Lowe seems to be our only saviour right now, doesn't he? Rupert Lowe asking the questions. He's asking, where's our social housing go to? 72% is Somalian. I mean, of course it is. Why? Why have we got Somalians? It's apparently, out of all the people coming into the UK at the moment, 16%, 16% are working. They said it was like 30, 30, 30, didn't they? Like 30 were students, 30 were family of people coming in, and then 30% were working. When you do the maths, it's actually lower than that, apparently. People actually working are 16%. And those are the guys that are paying taxes, of course. I don't know whether they know anyone else that's working that isn't paying taxes. Who's paying the taxes? It's me and my wife. And you out there, you know, good people out there paying taxes for what? So people can live off this shit. I'm fucking despondent as fuck. I hate it. I'm a positive dude. I am positive, guys. You know, I've been out working this morning trying to, you know, make sure the boathouse we're in is not being affected by the storms. I've come back and, you know, had a good time, met some dudes and everything, you know, get some of the guys down. I just feel despondent right now because it's like another week of grind ahead. For what? Paying higher taxes. The country's getting worse. It's never going to recover. London's fallen. Birmingham. I think Mohammed is now the most popular boy's name. It's been the most popular boy's name for years. We just haven't realised it because there's different spellings of Mohammed. So basically, the immigrants are outbreeding us. Say it like it is. Am I wrong there, guys? 11 minutes. I'm going to go now. And so what do we do? What do we do? I'd rather the country fell, yet it fell whilst every Englishman stood tall, than a single immigrant came into this country and outbred us. That shit's getting us banned, isn't it? Look, good immigrants are here. Bad immigrants are here. And there's good British people here and there's some bad British people here as well. All I'm saying is, I think the bad people that are British are allowed to be here. I don't want the bad immigrants here. It's just the numbers are just ridiculous. The numbers, 1.5 million people came in 2023. 1.5 million, of which 600,000 left. So we're left with 906,000 immigrants. In 2023, it went down like 750. I mean, in a country of 65 million, it's a ridiculous figure. It's unsustainable. Multiculturalism has absolutely failed. People are ghettoized, aren't they? They're segregated. There's no coming together. It's just communities. We talk about communities, the Muslim communities, the Hindu community, the Jewish community. I don't want community. I want a British community. That's all I want. It's not happening, is it? It's never going to happen. And the problem I've got is I always come back to confrontation, and it's got me in trouble in the past. And I don't want that to be the case. And I know a lot of Englishmen out there, a lot of English women, call it British if you want, who feel exactly the same way I do. There comes a point, doesn't it? There comes a point, because politics isn't working. It's not working, is it? All right, have a good week, guys. Let's talk later, all right? I appreciate you watching.